The curtain has drawn on the Knicks preseason, and the final act was anything but applause-worthy. Their performance, particularly on defense, left fans and critics wondering if the team is truly ready for the NBA's regular season. A glaring 131-106 loss to the Wizards, a team not exactly renowned for their prowess, speaks volumes. The absence of defensive cohesion was evident, and the typically stoic Tom Thibodeau did not mince words, expressing his disappointment in no uncertain terms. Jordan Poole, a player once discarded by Golden State, put on a shooting clinic, racking up an astounding 41 points in a mere 27 minutes. Alarmingly, most of those points came against the Knicks starting lineup, who were ostensibly on the court to fine-tune their regular season chemistry. As the countdown begins for the regular season, questions loom large. Have the players become complacent, thinking they can merely turn it on when it counts, but are we just overreacting? Let's find out. The good R.J. Barrett. R.J. had a commendable showing in the preseason. Remember when we discussed R.J. in my season preview video? Well, it's becoming increasingly evident that he's hurt us all and has been honing his craft. He's not just charging at the rim, he's doing it with purpose. And oh boy, those fouls he's drawing are a sight to behold. If he keeps up this free throw game, pushing it to, say, 80%, we're talking about a player whose scoring could touch the low to mid-20s, game after game. And let's not even get started on those impeccable alley-oops with Mitchell Robinson or his eagle-eyed ability to spot Brunson and Grimes for open threes. The key for RJ, keep that vision wide, especially during those drives. Now on to Mitchell Robinson. You see that guy? Looks like he's been putting in some serious hours at the gym, and it's paying off big time. Not only has he retained that muscle from a couple of seasons back, but there's also this newfound core strength that's making him almost invincible in the paint. Remember those times he'd fall and we'd all hold our collective breaths? It seems like a thing of the past, and thank goodness for that. The preseason showcased a version of Mitch we all were hoping to see. A rebounding powerhouse and arguably the most consistent performer for the Knicks. Even in that rough game against the Wizards, he still managed a positive plus-minus, which says it all, doesn't it? Once again, Thibodeau appears poised to make a calculated gamble, aligning New York's most impactful defender with their less proficient defensive players in an effort to balance the starters' defensive capabilities. This strategic approach should enable the starting offense to flourish while maintaining a strong defensive performance by the backups. The pathway to a prosperous season appears to be set, and Mitch is undeniably the key figure in this equation. Before we move on, we know you wouldn't want to miss out on more exclusive content like this. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to stay updated with all the latest in the world of the Knicks. Then there's Julius Randle. During the Wizards game, did anyone else feel that classic Randle vibe? Scoring a solid 20 points, grabbing 10 rebounds, and not to mention, draining 4 out of 6 from beyond the arc. What I've truly admired this preseason is Julius' unwavering focus on efficiency. He's aggressive, he's dynamic, and that explosive dunk over Mike Muscala, just a cherry on top. Now, let's talk Quentin Grimes. Here's a young gun entering his third NBA season, and the buzz around him, it's all about the shots. Where are they going to come from? This question isn't about doubt, it's about excitement. It's like knowing a musician is fantastic, but wondering which song they'll perform next. Case in point, the recent game against the Celtics. Grimes stepped up as the main man for the Knicks offensively, and boy did he deliver, hitting 7 of 12 from downtown in just over half of basketball. That's the stuff dreams are made of. And yes, while the Knicks may have trailed by 13 points at the end, Grimes' positive rating wasn't just a fluke. It was a testament to his impact on the game. You remember when Grimes hinted at Mitchell Robinson being the linchpin for the team? Well, and I say this with all due respect to Mitch, Grimes is quickly becoming part of that essential player conversation. Think about it. The Knicks starting lineup has a mix of shooting abilities. Grimes, with his swift and sure shots, becomes the linchpin to unlock the squad's full offensive potential. His Boston outing? A sign that we're in for a treat this season. His shooting ability, especially that sweet release of his, might just be what the Knicks starting lineup needs to truly flourish. Sports bettors, your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. Real-time in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, fast payouts, and exceptional one-on-one customer service. We got it all, like the chances of the Knicks making the playoffs. Check out the link in the description to sign up for betus.com, where the game begins. The bad, let's face it, while we've seen glimpses of brilliance from certain players, there's one overarching theme that's been a bit concerning. Defense. Now, I get it. It's easy to say, hey, it's just preseason. And while that's true to an extent, these games do offer a sneak peek into potential season-long trends. And from what we've seen, the Knicks sit uncomfortably at 32nd in defensive rankings out of the participating teams. Not a rank anyone would be proud of. I want to believe that once the regular season gets underway, the Knicks will rise like the Phoenix and showcase some solid defense. But considering last season's not-so-stellar track record coupled with their struggle against a Kuzma-less team, which, let's be honest, isn't expected to set the league ablaze this season, the confidence is waning. It's those little things, you know? The missed closeouts, the momentary lapses when players look unsure about whether to stick to their man or switch, and don't get me started on those missed rotations. There seems to be a lack of a unified defensive front, and that's concerning. Let's put things into perspective. The upcoming schedule features 7 teams with potent offenses. If the Knicks don't tighten their defense soon, these games might turn out to be a real uphill battle. The good news, Jalen Brunson sees it, the coach sees it, and the entire team knows they've got to step it up. The recognition of the problem is the first step towards fixing it. A 3-pointer, as its name suggests, is worth 1 point more than a 2-pointer. Simple math, right? But the implications are vast. A team that's proficient from beyond the arc can easily outpace one that's hitting twos all day. Plus, with rapid ball movement that characterizes modern basketball, expecting defenders to always close out in time is, well, wishful thinking. Now, looking back at last season, the Knicks sat pretty at second place in offense, but struggled to hit the top half in defense, ranking 19th. If their defense falters further and their offense doesn't keep up, we might be looking at a play-in scenario for the playoffs. Not ideal for a team that's aiming higher. Then there's RJ Barrett. If you've been watching the Knicks, you know just how integral he is to the team. An immensely talented player. His athleticism and drive often light up the court. But as with most talents, there are areas where even the brightest stars can shine a bit brighter. And for RJ, that area is 3-point shooting. During the preseason, despite giving it his all, RJ's shots from beyond the arc haven't quite hit the mark as consistently as we'd hope. The league's respectable average percentage from 3-point land remains elusive for him. And here's the crux of the matter. To elevate his game to that coveted all-star tier, Barrett needs to be a more reliable threat from deep. Not just occasionally, but consistently. Now, I've touched on this before. If RJ's struggles from downtown persist, maybe it's time to reconsider who gets those shots in the starting lineup. It's nothing against RJ, but the team has to play to its strengths. And when you have someone like Quentin Grimes, who's shown he can drain threes with confidence, it becomes a compelling strategy to explore. However, it's essential to strike a balance. While optimizing for the team's success, it's also crucial to ensure RJ's development doesn't get stifled. If he's to evolve into the player the Knicks hope he can be, he needs to be given the chance to work through these rough patches. Perhaps a mix of targeted coaching, specialized drills, and tweaks in game strategy can help RJ find his rhythm from beyond the arc. This preseason, the Knicks have had their fair share of these moments. Now, in their defense, the team has been testing out new offensive strategies. And, naturally, there's a learning curve. Players are still finding their rhythm, figuring out each other's playing styles, and establishing that on-court camaraderie. But even considering this, the turnovers have been a tad too frequent for comfort. And while it's a team issue, there's one player we should keep a close watch on. Donte DiVincenzo. Now, Donte is undoubtedly talented, but there's one stat from the previous season that raises some eyebrows, a turnover percentage of 15.8%. If that number doesn't immediately speak to you, let me put it in perspective. Among wing players, that places him in the bottom 3%. That means a whopping 97% of wing players were more careful with the ball than Donte. Ouch. Now every player has an off-season, and perhaps last season was just a blip for Donte. But with Coach Thibs at the helm, turnovers are one thing he won't stand for. Known for his strict coaching style and emphasis on discipline, Thibodeau's patience will likely be thin when it comes to careless ball handling. See, Donte's issue isn't with his shot selection per se, but rather with his ability to finish at the rim. Think about those drives that end in a disappointing miss, or those close-up attempts that just don't make it. I noticed this recurring theme during the games and decided to dig a little deeper. What I found is that Donte's struggles near the basket aren't new. In fact, they've been a consistent trend throughout his career. Last season, he made good on a mere 19% of his rim attempts. To put it bluntly, he ranked in the 27th percentile among all league players in this metric. That's concerning for a player of his caliber. However, there's a silver lining. DiVincenzo's prowess from the three-point line has shown potential to offset his shortcomings in the paint. If he can consistently knock down threes, it could open up more opportunities not just for him, but also for the team. It might even draw defenders out, allowing other players easier access to the rim. To touch upon a broader note, it's clear that the Knicks as a whole seemed a bit off during this preseason. Perhaps it was the weight of expectations or maybe the experimentation with strategies, but there was a noticeable lack of focus. It's something they'll need to rectify, and fast. Because come Wednesday, they're up against a slew of formidable teams. Facing 7 consecutive games against teams that might flaunt top 10 offenses isn't an easy start. All in all, the Knicks find themselves at an early crossroads. They'll need to shake off the preseason cobwebs, address these glaring issues, and harness their potential. Here's to hoping they rise to the challenge. The season ahead promises to be intriguing, to say the least.